that sounds like really important resources, and having us adopt the right mindset in education, which is, avoiding the trap of, avoiding either the trap of just being negative, there's nothing we can do, it's over, making excuses and just, dwelling in where we are, or the other trap of the, other problem, which is the toxic positivity. Everything's great. We can do it, without actually talking about what the how of doing it looks like, or putting in the work to heal and to find the healing. Instead, you're saying it's aggressive optimism, and at the risk of just butchering this as to try to paraphrase what you're talking about, what I'm hearing here is acknowledging the trauma and appreciating the trauma, not living in it and dwelling in it. Instead, making a commitment to put in the work, and, not just saying it's going to be okay like the toxic positivity movement wants us to do, but saying I'm going to make it okay because me and the
Yes.
people around me are going to put in the work and take it one step at a time and be aggressively optimistic that we can do this.
Oh my gosh, you paraphrased it perfectly.
Oh, bless you. Thank you.
Perfectly. No, that's exactly what it is. I feel like it's the middle, right? It's like, it's not, again, because it takes out the emotion. It really is this mindset of practicality, if you will. But like, I used to get so upset, right? Growing up, I've always been like just a natural optimist. It's just how I am. And people would be like, oh, you're such a Pollyanna, or, oh, like I'm more realistic than you. And I'm like, why is it that negative is more real than positive? But then I started to realize, like, well, there's got to be a middle, right? Like, if something negative is going on and you ignore it, y'all, literally, I didn't sleep for 8 months because I didn't feel like my diagnosis was, like, my experience was valid enough to have the diagnosis I had, right? Because at the time when this happened, so a little bit about my actual story, that NIF is based on is I moved to Los Angeles to become an actor. I was on the last episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which at that time was like one of the biggest shows in the entire world. And I thought my dreams were coming true. And then I was at the farmer's market in Santa Monica when an old man ran through the farmer's market. He drove down 4 blocks of people, 10 people died, and over 60 of us were injured. And I saw personally 3 people die that day, and my brain couldn't handle it. But at the time, PTSD was a diagnosis that they gave to veterans. They gave to war or to soldiers, right? And so when I was diagnosed with it, I literally was like, I'm not a soldier. Like, this doesn't make sense to me. And so I denied my diagnosis for a long, long time. 8 months, I refused medication. I refused help. I refused all of this stuff. And I ended up in the psych ward because I didn't sleep. And believe me, I can go on and on and on about how important sleep is, but that's a whole other conversation. But because of that, like, I'm so passionate about getting people to acknowledge that things are bad when they're bad, but then not let themselves, I don't know if you've experienced this, but my experience with young people is if someone's not acknowledging that something is bad in my life and I need them to, I'm going to make it worse. Right? It's like, I am feeling depressed. Well, go for a walk. Like, whatever the comeback is, that is like not acknowledging what they're feeling in the moment. And so now I'm going to get worse in my depression so that you understand how depressed I actually feel. So that's what I am trying to prevent with this book. Does that make sense? I see your face and I'm not sure I'm
It makes
making
a
myself
great
clear.
deal of sense. And I am so appreciative of you sharing your personal story, not only directly on this program, but through the pages of the Aggressive Optimism novel. This sounds like a really important read for all of us in education going through the collective trauma that we've gone through the last 3 or 4 years,
I hope
and
so.
trying to heal, not just psychologically, but healing as an education system to try to continue to deliver for the students that we serve.